This is something they should have taught me in music school that they never even mentioned. They're not scales. They're not scales. What's up, everybody? Kyle Barboza here, bass player, music educator, and today we're talking about the big three minor scales: natural minor, harmonic minor, and melodic minor. And we're going to get right into natural minor because that's the most important of the three. It's the most important of the three minor scales because it's what any minor key is based on. So when we say like we're in the key of G minor or the key of C minor, that means we're using the natural minor scale, all right? And we're actually going to use the key of A minor and the A natural minor scale as our example because it's literally your ABCs. There are no sharps and no flats in A minor. So it's just A, B, C, D, E, F, G, and A. That's A natural minor, right? Easy as pie. And what makes a minor scale or a minor chord or a minor key minor is that it's built on a minor triad from the root. So in other words, in the key of A minor, our 1, 3, and 5 of that scale is a minor triad. A, C, and E makes this nice minor chord here. All right, or play it in that voicing is easier to hear. Okay? That's what makes something have a minor tonality. When it comes to a natural minor scale, any natural minor scale is using the same notes of a relative major key. In other words, in the case of A minor, because it's got no sharps and no flats, it's the same set of notes as C major. The only difference is it starts on the 6th scale degree of the major scale. So every major scale has a relative minor key that you can memorize. What's just as important, though, is how A minor relates to its parallel major key, which is A major. We call it parallel because it has the same root note. And when it comes to the difference between A major and A minor, we're taking the 3rd scale degree of A major and bringing it down a half step or 1 fret on the bass to a flat 3 or a minor 3rd. We can use both of those terms. We're also doing the same thing with the 6th scale degree. So F sharp in A major is coming down to F natural. And the G sharp, the 7th scale degree, or the leading tone as we also call it, is going to come down to G natural, right? So in other words, we can say that a minor scale, a natural minor scale, has a flat 3, a flat 6, and a flat 7, or a minor 3rd, a minor 6th, and a minor 7th. Very important language to remember. Okay, so where does harmonic minor and melodic minor come in? Well, here's the thing. They're not scales. Yeah, they're not. Actually, this is something they should have taught me in music school that they never even mentioned. And it's that really what harmonic minor and melodic minor are ways to alter or change the natural minor scale. In other words, let's go to harmonic minor. What harmonic minor really is a way that composers altered the harmony of the natural minor scale to give it more tension and resolution. So let's go back to the Baroque music era and the classical music era where this stuff started to originate. The whole crux of a lot of Baroque music like Bach, Handel, and classical music like Mozart is this relationship between tension and resolution. Really, really important to know as a bass player. And in that music, they used the 1 chord, which for us is the A minor chord, right? And the 5 chord, E, as the tonic and dominant chord. In other words, the resolution is the A minor, and the tension chord is going to be built on the 5, the E. But in natural minor, that 5 chord would normally be a minor chord because The third of it would be a G natural, right? We don't have any sharps or flats in A minor. But that 5 chord being minor doesn't really give it much tension. It doesn't give it much oomph in the music. It doesn't pull you back to the tonic chord. So what composers did was, in the melody and in the harmony, they would raise that 7th scale degree from G natural to G sharp in A minor in order to get that feeling of tension to resolve back to the 1 chord. All right, you hear this all over classical music. In fact, one of the most famous classical themes, let's see here, Beethoven's Fifth. Those 2 little phrases, the first phrase, ba 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 ba, built on a minor 1 chord, and then ba 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 ba. Even though it's not in the melody, you can still hear this note. It's inferring that dominant 5th chord, or that 5 chord with the raised 7th from G to G sharp. Bum 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 bum, bum 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 bum. You hear that tension? That's why harmonic minor exists. A lot of people think it's because you've got this, what's called an augmented second interval between the flat 6 and that major 7th. That gives it kind of like an exotic sound. That's not why it exists, really. Even though that's a really cool sound, it really exists because that G sharp pulls you to the A, to the tonic, and the F, the flat 6, pulls you where? It pulls you down to that 5 chord, right? So you get these sounds. Right? You know that sound. You've heard that a million times. And blues. Come on, you've heard that a million times, right? That's the harmonic scale in action. Or really, harmonic minor, which is not really a scale. So, after all that, you probably will be able to figure out the fact that melodic minor is called melodic minor because it's an alteration of the melody. Yes, alteration of the melody. So let's go back to A minor. What the melodic minor scale is when composers, most of the time, we're going from the 5th scale degree back to the tonic. So in A minor, let's go to the 5, A, B, C, D, E, F, G, A, right? Stepping up the scale. Well, when we're using these principles of tension and resolution, you can add a little more of a feeling of tension that makes a stronger resolution by raising both the 6th and 7th scale degrees up the scale. Check this out. Hear how strong that is? How strong of a resolution is? So the melodic minor scale really is raising the 6th and 7th scale degree on the way up the scale to make that tension and resolution point. On the way down, in classical music, the melodic minor scale actually doesn't have a raised 6th and 7th scale degree. It's just natural minor on the way down. So here's melodic minor as a scale when it comes to classical music. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then raise 6th, raise 7th, 1. And then down the scale is just back to the natural minor. Okay? Now here's the crazy thing though. When it comes to jazz, melodic minor is a totally different world. When it comes to jazz and more modern music, yes, melodic minor really is a scale because we're utilizing all of those alterations as really part of the tonality. So let's shift gears to like how you would use melodic minor in jazz. Well, if I were to play like a bossa nova kind of tune like this, right? A minor 1, then a 2/5, back to 1. right? We can hear those chords. Hear that natural sixth? That natural sixth now become target notes in jazz. We're using those notes as part of the tonality, again, as a way to build tension, right? It's good to know that, like when you're playing with a sax player who's using melodic minor, that sax player is going to be building triads off those notes, right? Diminished triads. You get all kind of these like really nice angular sounds from the melodic minor scale. You get augmented triads by using those notes, like from the third to the fifth to that natural seventh. It's really, really cool how those sounds are used. And as a bass player, we can outline those sounds by using some of those notes, right? Right? I'm using that natural sixth and that natural seventh in my bass line because it makes such a cool sound. Here's a famous bass line that has the natural sixth on the minor. A Night in Tunisia. Okay, so those borrowed notes from the major scale, that sixth and seventh scale degree, becomes a whole new way of getting new flavors into your lines, into your bass lines, and into your improvisations in jazz. Totally different mentality than where it originated in classical music. Interesting, right? All right, go forth, practice those minor scales, learn them as scales, but understand them as alterations to the minor key. That's really what I wanted you to get out of this video. All right, everybody. See you on the next one.